Hello, this is video number 2, and we've already breathed, so we've got all that happening. I suggest maybe not doing that. You don't have to necessarily do it before you warm up, but do that when you wake up in the morning. First thing, air in, air out. It's just a good time to clear your mind before you go to sleep at night. If you start doing that type of thing, I guarantee you'll sleep better too. So many things racing through your mind, it just gives you a good way to calm down. If you incorporate any kind of meditation and prayer into that, that's great too. It's a good way to just sort of center. So we've done that. The next thing on our docket on how and what to practice is the warm up. Warm up consists of 3 parts: your long tones, make sure everything's working, and then lip slurs and flexibility. Those are kind of both in the same category, and then articulation. You want to do a few exercises to just get those things going. So first I'm going to deal with just long tones. What we've got here in the book is a variation by my good friend and former teacher Susan Smith on just long tones. And all that whole 2 pages does is take the Remington exercises that probably everybody's familiar with, and it expands them into all ranges. Now, for warm-up purposes, I would not suggest doing all 2 pages. It'll take you about 40 minutes, and you'll be so tired by the end you won't be able to play anything else. But for warm-up, I like to start in the middle, go up, go down, and it depends on what type of playing I'm doing, if I'm going to do some high-range stuff or low-range stuff. But I start in the middle on an F. And so on. Again, all this is written out in the book, but you do that. That's not too high, it's not too low, it's just sort of a medium note to start on. Notice 2 things. One is I took a breath after every 2 notes. Yes, do that. So get a big enough breath that you can last 8 counts at whatever tempo you decide to go. And you can do this with a metronome. That's awesome too. Really helps you start developing an inner pulse if you haven't already. The other things you notice that I did not articulate except the first note. And that's by design, at least for trombone too. You don't want to get the articulation going yet. This is just to focus on the air and your tone quality. So as you do this boring, monotonous exercise, listen to what you sound like. Do you have any fuzz in the sound? Pitch. It goes half step, whole step, goes chromatically down from your bass note that's in first position. So be listening to those intervals and make sure you play them in tune. So it serves both those purposes, pitch and breath control. Well, 3 purposes, and tone quality. So you finish the F sequence. I usually go down to B flat after that, the low one. Most of the time, for just normal everyday warming up, I'll stop on the F down in 6th. In the book, it's written to go down to actually pedal B flat. Sometimes I do that, but I usually prefer to do that at another time. After I do F, then B flat, I can go back up to the B flat above it. Through these kind of quickly now, again, so I don't run out of video time and that kind of stuff. And it makes it too hard to download. So some days that's it. I'll go from there to lip slurs. It depends on what kind of playing I've got. A variation on what I just did is coming back to the same note. Again, some days same type of thing, same note sequence, just coming back to that bass note every time. That's another really good one for the ear training aspect and making sure that you're playing in tune. You can really hear the intervals better. So get to that point. There are days that I go up to the D, the F above that, and even to the high B flat above that. There are days I go down to the C with the valve, and then go down to the F below that, and then sometimes go down to the pedal B flat. So it just depends on what this feels like. Most of the time, F, B flat, probably going to do the trick just to get you started. But you may need to do something else depending on what you've done the day before, because you do practice every day, right? Yeah. So that just depends on what you've done the day before, but use that as needed. The other exercises that are actually in here that are all based on that go higher and crazy low, those are technique exercises because they develop your range. One of the things I want to do in those first couple of lessons, especially for the new people, is say, all right, where do you top out and where do you start fuzzing out down there on the bottom? So, and then we work from there, okay? Say high G's, the only thing you can play with consistency. Then we'll get up to there and we'll start pushing up. Pedal B flat, you can get that out, but you get down to pedal A flat and it's like, so, we want to work on developing that. And we'll use these exercises. But I don't really consider that part of warming up. That's a skill development fundamental exercise. Okay, so that's warming up with long tones, and that's the thing to do with long tones. Yes, they can be boring, but engage the mind so that you're actively listening to yourself. You're being aware of breathing, and you're hearing those intervals also. So tone quality, pitch, and breathing. Be aware of those three things each time you play. Don't just get into a mindless zombie. No. Think about what you're doing. Listen to what you're doing all the time. Start doing it on long tones. That will carry over into other parts. All right. Time for video number 3. Still warming up.